True motherfucker, Thug Nation alert. Keep his name on the streets till you lay in the dirt.
With niggas from the block like Tupac. It's all Tupac to the snail to grab the cat and the track.
Anybody who'd have never been around me and Pac at the same time and then been around him when I wasn't there could tell you how me and that with it. You know what I mean? Like I was one of the only who, if I seen him, you know, I'd try to yank his reins if I seen him move. But he was always in control of himself, but it was just too free spirited to me. He took a liking to too many that he didn't really know. And that's the one thing that used to get me, because he'd be like, this is my brother, or this is my cousin, or and it might be somebody that I learned later on was just somebody he had met through somebody that he really, really with. And he just was a good bro. And anybody who around in the street knows sometimes being too cool ain't always cool. You know, because a lot of people don't appreciate goodness. You know what I'm talking about? And
so it really killed you when you got involved in the LA gang culture.
Yeah, that's what I was about.
I told him about that. I told him about that. I talked to him about that. I told him about that. We talked about the M.O.B. thing, and I told him he tried to fluff me. He said, "Nah, there's money over bitches," and I was like, "No, that's not what it is."
Members of Bloods.
And then I just asked him, I said, "Bro, is this what you're doing?" Because I was down there one day, and I was like, "Blood, pass me the, what's it called?" Because I've been in the town, I've been saying blood since my brother been my brother. And they used to say, "What up, bleed?" It went from bleed to blood from my brother's generation to us. But we ain't no gangbangers. That's just something to say. Anyway, we was in the room with some chicks, and I told him, I was like, "Blood, where the blunts at?" And he told me, he said, "Hey, you watch that B word, right?" And I said, "Huh?" He said, "Yeah, hey, watch that B word." I said, "Is you banging?" He was like, "No, but you know, it's just a few niggas around." I was like, "Okay, man." And that was the first sign that I got. I was like, wow. He told me I might want to watch the B word.
Only Gab can do it like this. Yo, YouTube, what up? It's your homie Gab. I'm in the building. And this is MAKAVELI Media. So Tupac, longtime homeboy out of Oakland, Richie Rich, just did an interview over at Smoke a Lot. And in this interview, he talked about, you know, some of the last conversations or his thoughts about what happened to Tupac. And one of the things he said that I noticed that a lot of people that knew Tupac personally and, you know, had a close bond to Tupac is that Tupac was kind of too friendly. Now, I applied that to the idea that Richie Rich was open when he said that he wasn't too thrilled about Tupac signing with Death Row. He said that several times. And he also equated that to Tupac being too friendly, not knowing people. Tupac didn't have to know you to consider you a friend or a brother. That's a fact. So, with that being said, he said Tupac was just too carefree and too friendly. And that led to another part in this interview where basically he was asked, was Tupac affiliated with the mob? And you heard Tupac say M.O.B. several times on albums, had it tatted on him and what have you. And Richie Rich said he asked his longtime friend, was he in fact part of the mob? And Pac danced around the question. Now, let me say this first and foremost. I don't know for a fact if Tupac was or he wasn't. If you ask different people, they give you different answers from a different point of view most of the time. Some people say it did stand for money over, right? And then some people say, no, Pac was definitely affiliated. So we probably won't know or answer definitely, but Pac was definitely down with the mob. He was down with them. I don't know if he was, like I said, official But like I said, just him being with Suge made him affiliated. So definitely he was down with the mob. So anyway, in this interview, Richie Rich went on to say that, you know, one time he actually used the word blood and, you know, Tupac checked him in the sorts. And I was like, wow, that's very telling right there. You know, it made Richie Rich feel a certain type of way. It almost gave him confirmation, and, you know, and he's telling us that, in his opinion, yes, Tupac was in fact M.O.B. I just find this wild, man, because Richie Rich and Tupac was tight, man. You know, it's so much footage of Pac and Richie Rich, man, and them just hanging out, having a good time, man. Richie Rich is on, you know, a lot of Tupac songs, had Pac on his music. You know, he's one of Tupac's first homeboys he met when he moved out to Oakland. You know what I mean? So to hear Richie Rich say this is some truth to it. You know, Pac got upset with him, or, you know, kind of put him in his place over that word, you know. And it's just so funny because they had a humorous relationship. Like, he talked about how one time he had bought a new car and he had like custom seats. I guess they was leather seats. And, you know, Pac had some barbecue chicken in his car and he told him, yo, no eating in my ride. Pac, okay, you so worried about your car. And he said when he got out the car, after he dropped Pac off, he looked and Tupac had wrote his name in barbecue sauce in his seat with his finger. So, I mean, you know, yeah, for him to share this story, you know, had to be something that really set in his mind and on his heart, man. He looking back at it like, yeah, you know, this is the first time I noticed that it was official. And like I said, he wasn't thrilled about Tupac going to death row. He said it several times. But what could he do? But if you read between the lines, you'll find similar to what a lot of other people said, how Tupac met his demise out in Vegas. You know, that would explain the beef and, you know, how Tupac was right dab in the middle with the Orlando Anderson, Keefe D in the South. You know, why Pac would jump straight in the middle of that. I don't know. But it all makes sense to me. Well, anyway, I need you guys to share and like this video. Don't forget to sub to the channel. This is MAKAVELI Media. I'm your homie Gab. It's been a pleasure as always. I'm signing off. I'm about to hit y'all with the peace.